Welcome back to Terror Takeover, your one-stop shop for all things creepy, disgusting, and horrifying. I'm your host, Crow.
And I'm sure.
And we are back. It was kind of like a couple of weeks where we were just swamped by other things that we weren't really able to do the damn thing. But not last week, but last like episode, it was kind of like a mini-sode.
Yeah.
I just talked about things that were coming out soon. So I'm happy to be back at it. I'm happy to talk to you again, even though we talk every day, but I'm happy to talk to you on camera. You look super cute. I was just saying that.
Thank you. Yes,
I love
I'm
that
happy
you
to
did like
be
a
in the
green
chair.
moment.
Yes, I wanted to add a little touch of green, a little something Beetlejuicy, Although I don't have anything striped or necessarily roaches to have crawl over my body and like grody shit. But I did what I could.
Well, that's probably a good thing, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny you said that. I didn't even think about it. I have like so many striped. I literally have like several striped shirts in my like
No way.
closet right now. Yeah, but I just didn't even think about it. So I have my Twilight shirt on and my red contacts. So that's what we're doing.
Hey, vamp it up. We're all fan.
Yeah.
It's all still horror, still terrifying and disgusting. So
Absolutely. Have you been watching a lot of movies lately? I feel like you've been so busy.
I know. I feel like I have no time anymore. I'm really not watching anything. I'm more like doing shows right now. So I'm still
that's
watching
cool.
Yellow Jackets, trying to finish Hannibal because I feel so annoyed that I haven't actually finished it yet.
I feel like you've been watching Hannibal forever now.
I took a long pause after season 2 and then watched a bunch of other non-horror shows, but I'm going to come back to it.
Oh, got it.
I'm also thinking about having like a big movie marathon again and going into some classics. So like American Psycho and everything. And maybe a House of the Devil, like not a classic, but you mentioned that one as well. So
right. Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, but I just watched today or I finished it. I mentioned it to you earlier, but I finished The Innkeepers, which is supposed to be like a follow-up to House of the Devil.
Okay.
Which I actually don't know if it's even like related or in the same universe or anything. I just saw that online somewhere that it was supposed to be a follow-up, but it seemed like it was like completely different. And I actually don't know how I feel about it. Like it was
really? Oh,
I don't know. So I feel like this is the vibe that I got from it. And I'm not sure if that was the vibe it was supposed to be, but I feel like maybe it was. The vibe of the movie was almost like Goosebumps or something. Like it was almost like a little over the top, like peachy and just like, whoa, like the characters were very like emotive basically.
Okay. Like almost campy, but not cool.
I guess so. It was a little awkward. The characters were just kind of just so innocent, I guess, or at least the main character was. She was kind of adorable. I told you it's Sarah Paxton, who's in a lot of like teen movies or something like that.
Yeah, she just has that face. And actually, I totally forgot, since it's been a while since my last episode, I watched the movie Cuckoo.
Yeah.
I honestly, looking back now, because it's been a couple of weeks, I do think I overall enjoyed it. It was definitely an interesting storyline and a different type of monster. And also, I love seeing Hunter Schafer in a horror role. I love that all the like Euphoria cast is spreading their wings in creepy horror things.
I love that.
But it was pretty weird. It was a weird time. I remember leaving the theater and being like, what did I just do for an hour? So
I still haven't gotten. I'm still waiting for it to come out on like VOD, not necessarily
for sure
Netflix or something like that, but just like for me to be able to buy it online to watch it because I cannot. Well, it's already out of theaters. It was only in theaters for like 2 weeks or something. It really wasn't long, right? And then the gap between it being out in theaters and it coming out on VOD was several weeks or something like that. So they really weren't giving you a lot of opportunity to actually catch it.
Man, which is kind of crazy because it was being hyped up not hyped up, but it really was talked about for so long. Like we saw that one clip of Hunter just like behind the wall in the library for like
forever,
years, literally years. So
was it years?
Insane. I think so, but I didn't hear about it maybe like a year prior to actually seeing it. So, but either way, I think it's worth watching. I don't think you have to go see it in theaters. Like it's not that atmospheric, but I still think it's worth a watch.
Absolutely.
I also saw the TV Glow is out on streaming now, so maybe we'll watch it at some point.
No way. Oh, we have to watch it.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. I was kind of looking for things to watch today, right? But I couldn't think of anything, so that might be a good option. Do you know what it's out on?
I believe it's on Max, actually. So
no way.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that might be like a tomorrow watch or something like that. That's awesome. Speaking of hype, I have been hearing a lot of hype only within the past couple of days, really, about The Substance, which I have not really been seeing a whole lot of people talking about prior to its release, which it's already out, which is crazy that I haven't heard of it until now. Right. And I've heard great things. There's this girl, I can't remember her name, but she's on TikTok and she always has kind of like the best takes on horror movies. And she was saying that it was the best movie one of the best movies she's ever seen. And I was like, well, that seems like a lot to me. Like anytime somebody says that, that's really dramatic. But
Yes.
I'm stoked to see it. I do like generally trust her opinion on other things. So I am going to be going to see it on Tuesday. So I'd
Yay.
love to
Okay.
talk about it for the next episode.
Yes, I will go see it as well. Plus, I think it's really great slating into some of that like beauty standards dystopian
Yeah.
vibes, and definitely a interesting movie. So I'm pumped to see it as
Right.
well.
I was kind of thinking it's seeming like there's a little bit of Death Becomes Her and there, a little bit of
Yes.
like inspiration from that movie, and then perhaps even like a little inspiration from something like Infinity Pool. It's kind of giving just like almost psychological, definitely girly pop. I'm stoked to
Yes.
go see it.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we did get around to watching Beetlejuice. Well, Beetlejuice, sorry, which I'm so excited
Yes.
for to talk about today because I loved it, loved it, loved it. And I know that you enjoyed it too.
Yes.
And there is so much that happened in this movie, so much opportunity for discussion. So we can go ahead and just get like
Yeah. Let's
right
get
into
into it.
it. Of
Okay.
course, we don't have to like I mean, Tim Burton doesn't need an introduction. You guys know who he is.
Yeah. Literally.
I will say, I want to start out by saying that this is one of those movies that I think you needed to have watched the first movie in order to have seen it. I feel like everybody should watch Beetlejuice because it's a classic,
Yeah.
but I think that this is a movie that you can absolutely enjoy without having seen the other one first and then just watch it after or whatever. It's a great movie. You
Yeah.
do need to watch Beetlejuice anyway if you haven't already for everybody that's listening. But yeah, I think that I think that anybody can like it.
Yeah, there's like loose associations between. I mean, not loose. There is like continuation from the first movie, but it's
Right.
literally 30 years in between. So you're
Yeah.
good if this is the first one that you're seeing. So
Right. That's basically where I'm at on it. And there are a lot of the same characters from the original movie. Michael Keaton, for example, is still playing
yes,
Beetlejuice, which is like, I can't even imagine somebody else trying to do that. I think that would
no,
have just
absolutely
been
not.
like another Crow situation, which would have just been really
Oh,
awkward and weird.
oh yeah,
Obviously, Winona Ryder is Lydia Deetz, and she did amazing and she looks
yes,
amazing.
she
And
really does.
we could get into the fashion a little bit later, but honestly, like, let's talk about it. I think that the way that they matured her into an adult is so cute. I love that they didn't just try to
Absolutely.
make it like, oh, she's just wearing the exact same thing and she looks exactly the same as when she
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
teenager, because that is just not how like people age at all, especially not
No, no.
people of such like dramatic character. I love that she had like the little like what do you call it, like spiky bangs, but it was like different. It was a
Yes.
lot more mature, a lot more
Yeah, a little
artsy.
mature look.
Dude,
Absolutely. She was
I low key
grown.
kind of want to get that. Like, I kind of thought about it after I saw the
I
movie,
could see
so
it for
maybe
you.
we'll see.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little look, honestly.
Right, but I definitely felt like she was a more mature version of the original character. Like, she
Yeah.
didn't really feel like, for example, this is going to be hard to explain, but she didn't just feel like Winona Ryder playing a character. Like, she felt like Lydia Deetz grown up, which I
Yeah,
loved.
absolutely.
I loved that she had her own like talk show and she was like a medium on the talk show. How
Yes.
cute was
That was
that?
adorable. Like the ghost, I thought that wasn't like a loose end. They just let go. Like she kept it on. And then obviously, I think that's so
Yeah.
modern. Like, why wouldn't she start a big TV show? Like, why wouldn't she have her own talk show? Like, that's
Right.
obviously what I would do if I could, see ghosts and shit in
Absolutely.
2024. Hell yeah.
Right. I love that Delia is in the movie, who's Lydia's
Yes.
stepmom. And I love that they
Yes.
made her a protagonist because she always, look, unpopular opinion, she was always that bitch. I always
Oh,
loved her. Even in the
God.
original movie, like, she was definitely like questionable. She wasn't like the best stepmom ever, but I always thought she
I
was cool.
mean,
Like, she was
yeah.
out there and crazy and pretentious, but I thought she was
Hell
like a super
yeah.
cool artist. And I love that they totally like brought that into this movie as well. I think that
Yeah.
she's come like a really long way. I think the most obvious thing is that she's a lot more likable now. I think she was likable, of
Yes.
course, in the original movie too, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
she's
But
a
she's
lot more
like not
likable
the.
now. Right. I love how she's just got her like crazy little art installations and how that guy was supposed to like
Yes.
spray paint her and she's just like
Oh
crying on
my
the ground. Yeah.
god. Yes. And that she takes it to everything. Like she's doing all these rituals and doing all these like
Right.
ceremonies and
Oh
shit.
my
Like,
God.
girl,
She
the
is me.
draping of
I'm
the
literally
house.
her. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
really loved her. And I thought that I think the thing that was so like, or so funny about her character is that we almost like know of somebody like that. You know what I mean? Like there's a familiarity in the role. It's not just like
Yeah.
she's this completely outlandish character. I think it's something
No,
that like
no.
exists today, which is so funny and
Yeah.
so cool.
It's almost a bit of a trope, not like in a bad way or anything, but there's always that like
Right.
eccentric older sister or like stepmom or whatever who's just like she's not like crazy crazy, but she is along for a lot
Yeah.
of kooky shit and down for the ride essentially.
Right. Yeah, basically my dad.
Yeah.
But
For
literally
real.
that. There was also this scene. Well, we can get into that when we start talking about the plot. I want to mention a
Okay.
little bit about Jenna Ortega's character because that's undeniable. You already
Yes.
know I'm going to gush over her because I love her.
I
I
don't
was a
blame
little bit
you.
nervous about her character. I kind of had, I guess, out of all the characters, I had the lowest expectations. Sorry for her, because I was thinking, here we go, it's Jenna Ortega and another Tim Burton thing. She's just going to basically
Yeah.
be Wednesday.
That's what I was
Um,
thinking as well. Like, okay, another like
right,
goth role for her, little goth
right.
daughter.
Which, to be fair, I will say that you do see a little bit of like Jenna Ortega's like, I guess, the same kind of like austere personality in a few of her different roles. But I do
Yeah.
think that this was its own thing. Like, you could still see how she was angsty, but she still had the emotion. And, like, for example, when she was with the boy that she had the crush on, you could see her softening up. And it was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't so much like she was just like this, like, literally just like Wednesday. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. She's a little
Yeah.
bit naturally sarcastic and dry, I think, maybe even as
Right.
a person. She does play that in a lot of roles, but she was still able to kind of channel a slightly younger, like you said, teenager, angsty, awkward, like, oh, my parents are broken up, like vibes. Like she
Yeah.
did channel that for this role, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I loved that so much. I think all the other characters, and we're going to talk about them a little bit more when we kind of get into the plot a little bit, all the other characters as well, save for like maybe one, I feel like they were all just like really well thought out. I thought they all
Yeah.
added a lot to the plot. I really liked, well, I didn't, honestly, I kind of did like him. I liked the Lydia's boyfriend, Rory. I kind of
Rory?
liked him a
I knew
little
you were
bit.
gonna. I knew you were thinking of him. Oh my god! I
He
like
was
Justin
awful.
Theroux, the guy that played him. Like he does really
Yeah.
good on lots of other shows. But Rory, yeah, was like, I just wanted every time he was on the screen, I was just like, someone get this cornball out of here! Like, what is cannot be serious about him? Oh
Girl, I
my
was
god,
crying when he was taking the pills out of the
sleazy.
trash can to take, and then he took one, like took them with her. Like, it was just so ridiculous. Yeah.
Yes, he was over the top for real.
Which this is kind of unrelated, but I just wanted to mention when I was looking into the actor, I didn't realize that if you've ever seen Zoolander, he was like that like kind of creepy DJ at the end of Zoolander.
Oh my god, no
Anyway,
way!
well, I
Like,
thought that
hey,
keeps
that's that
playing like
range.
the what do you call it, brainwashing like music and stuff like that with the like dreadlocks
God.
and everything. Dude, it was
What
crazy.
the fuck? That's
Anyway,
insane.
Jeremy's character, I like Jeremy's character. I think that he basically was like the primary antagonist, even though
Yeah.
Dolores, who was supposed to be Beetlejuice's ex-wife, was kind of like also like a side antagonist. I think that
Yeah.
was like the only bone to pick that I had with the entire movie, is like I didn't super understand her like place in the movie. The ex-wife,
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah. I think
But
they just wanted to have multiple plots or something going on, or wanted to have a
right,
lot of chaos, and it all
for
did kind of
sure.
pay off in the end. But I can see it
Yeah.
being like, what's the point of this whole? I mean, like literally her whole side story, and then like the, I want to say his name is
Right.
Dick Wolf or something. The
Yes, I
police
love
guy.
it. No, Wolf,
That was a
Dick
whole.
Wolf. It was Wolf
Sorry.
Jackson.
I knew it was Wolf something. I don't know where the fuck I had to go
No,
for it.
I
My
loved
bad.
him. I loved him.
Yeah.
He was so
So funny.
quintessential, like Beetlejuice. Like, he was so quintessential. Like,
Yeah.
he was a character that could have easily been in the first movie.
No, easily. Just over
And
the
first
top.
of all, I love Willem Dafoe. You know, I love Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe.
Fair.
He's my questionable. Hear me out. And then, of course, we talked a little bit about the dad, Richard, who is like, we gotta admit, come on,
Girl,
he
he
was
was
a
kind of
looker.
fine. He was kind of fine. When they showed him on
Even with
screen,
the
I was like,
fishes. Yeah, I was like,
I know,
yeah,
even with the fish
literally.
coming out of his.
When she saw him for the first time, I was like, ooh, he kind of looks. And then I went, wait a
Oh,
minute, though.
it's
Yeah, he was
fast. He
looking
was better than
good.
Jeremy, to be honest. I was like, oh,
Period.
okay.
Yeah. Anywho, so basically, the entire story of the movie, and this is kind of where we're going to start getting into some spoilers. So if you're not comfortable hearing about spoilers yet, or if you haven't seen the movie yet, now is probably a good time to listen to something else.
Yeah.
Basically, at the beginning of the movie, this isn't so much of a spoiler, but you find out that Lydia's dad, Charles, has died in a dramatic accident, which is really funny the way that they describe it. It's like, oh, the plane crashed. And she was like, and then he died. And she was like, no, actually, he was like floating on some wreckage and
Yeah.
he almost made it back to like this family at the plane or something like that. But then a shark like eats half of him. So, which is just
Yes.
so classic
Insane.
Tim Burton. Really funny, really dramatic. And so he's kind of just walking
Yes.
around throughout the movie, just
Just
legs, like without an
yes,
upper body.
literally. I kind of missed when they said that, and I spent like half the movie thinking that that was Astrid's dad. I was like, is that the dad? They're going to reveal something, and then of course, it, like
Yeah,
literally wasn't. But still,
right.
no. The special effects of like the carcass that was just like a legs
Yeah,
was
squirting
insane.
blood.
Honestly, yes. Oh
Right.
god, that's so nasty. The little neck squirting.
Yeah, something else that I really like is how like no one ever seems to know that they're dead. I think that's so funny and cute. How they're just
Yes,
like, my wife's
yes,
gonna be pissed if I don't get home soon, and it's like, bro, you don't even have a
yes.
head right now. Like,
Like yeah, dude. Like you're fucked. Okay. I loved how
Right.
death, and they talked about this a lot too, how the whole point is the afterlife is like this big hierarchy, bureaucracy kind of thing. But I thought
Yeah.
it was crazy that you have to like stand in line, get your ticket.
Yes.
There's some like disenfranchised teen working at the front desk just being like,
Yeah.
shut up, go back to the back
Yeah.
of the line. The whole vibe was just like, ooh, death kind of sucks.
I
So
know.
yeah,
I love it.
kind of dry.
Right. We talked a little bit earlier about how Lydia is now like a famous TV medium and she's got her own TV show
Yes.
called Ghost House and she's like kind of like helping I guess like it seems like the whole thing is she's helping people banish ghosts from their home or something like that. She's
Yeah.
got like this
Communing with
manager
them.
Rory who she's dating and he's like insane. Like I really don't even know how to
Yeah.
describe him. He's just like really dramatic, really like soft boy like type stuff. Like it's always like, "Oh, we're not going to let you squander your talents by taking like what is it? Like
Yeah.
antipsychotics or whatever
Yes. I'm
basically."
like,
Right.
yeah.
And you can kind of
Never
sense that
date your
he's like
manager, you know?
right. Well, that's the other thing. But you can kind of sense that he's a little bit of a sleazeball from the start.
Yes.
Delia Deetz, Lydia's stepmom, she's like a famous artist at this point, which I love. And
Yes.
basically, she's in the middle of like this installation whenever she finds out that Charles, her husband, is dead. And
Yeah.
she ends up letting Lydia know. And so they have to go back to Winter River, which is where the original movie took place, which is so cute. I love
Yes.
that they had like a solid reason for it. It wasn't just like
Yeah.
some
Then
bullshit,
just
you
honed it
know?
in. Yeah, or
Right.
phoned it in.
Right. So there's the character Astrid, who's played by Jenna Ortega, and that is Lydia's daughter with like an estranged ex-husband, Richard. And basically
Yes.
she just kind of like is an angsty teenager, blames her mom for her dad dying or something like that. I really don't know how she
Yeah.
got to that point. Like I actually don't know how like
Well, yeah, I think she was just a teenager and she just thought that her mom was like corny with the whole ghost stuff, didn't believe in
yeah,
it
for
all of
sure
it. And then
that.
she didn't like that her mom like never talked about her dad. Like it was
That's what
very
it was.
secret. And like
Got
obviously
it.
she could talk to ghosts, but she like wouldn't talk to her dad's ghost. So
Yeah.
which I don't really I never understood that
Yeah.
either. I don't know if the movie ever explained that.
No, they didn't
Because she
really. Like, there was just one point where he was just like, "Oh yeah, like I know you can't see me, but I see you," and it was just like,
yeah, which is like, wait, isn't that the whole
"Why?
thing here?
Why?"
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Anyway,
I guess maybe because it was the kind of thing where he was like fully in the afterlife, and he
yeah,
wasn't like Beetlejuice, for example. Even like he had to really try to like be an apparition in like Lydia's life, basically, and
yeah, to
he
go
was
back
like
and
he
forth
seems
like
to be a
that.
pretty powerful ghost, right?
Yeah, bio exorcist.
Right. So anyway, yeah, Lydia's kind of like seeing Beetlejuice like pop up randomly and she's like, "Oh god, he's back," type situation, of course. So basically they're back in Winter River. They're kind of there's this like dramatic scene where Jenna Ortega is like riding the bike throughout the city and they're showing like all
Yeah.
the little different places from the original movie, which I think is really
Yes.
cute.
Nice
They're
little
showing
homage.
the right, they're showing the like bridge where the couple from the first movie like originally crashed and then they're showing like the little stores and the little
Yes, the
cafes and all that.
Maitlands.
Yeah, the Maitlands. Yeah, that's what they're called. And I loved it. I thought it was
Yes.
just so cute. I love Gina Davis. I was kind of hoping somehow she'd be back in this one, but
I
I
think they
think that
said
might have
that
been corny.
they. No, they said that they. Well, I mean, maybe it would have been corny. I don't think it is though.
Right.
But also, they said that they were just like, so ghosts are supposed to live forever and look the same forever, and like obviously it's been 30 years since the last movie, so they were
Right.
just like, we're a little bit too old to be doing all that, you
Got
know?
it. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. Well,
So
they did it well, I guess, because Beetlejuice has got such heavy makeup that it doesn't really matter.
yeah, you can't even tell.
Right. So anyway, Astrid ends up meeting this boy, Jeremy, because she crashes into like the tree that he built a tree house on
Yeah.
the top of or something like that. And she's like immediately smitten. And you can kind of tell something's off right away because no guy just like is perfect right away and reads Dostoevsky and like all this shit. Like
Girl, not my dumbass being like, oh my god, they're so cute.
no,
What a
I
nice
knew, girl, I
little
knew it. I was like, something is off. Like, I
Oh
just knew something was
no.
off. Honestly, I think the actor played a good job of like being like slightly like detestable, you know, even though he was supposed to be like
The
anyway, we'll get
heartthrob.
into that. Right. Well, I mean,
Oh,
we could just say it right now because we're already past the spoiler portion.
yeah.
But basically, long story short, he is a ghost, which which I think the way they show it is really cool. Like they like kiss for the
Yes.
first time, and
It's like
then
beautiful,
she
amazing.
realizes they're floating, and she's like, "Oh shit, yeah!" And then
Yeah.
he's a ghost. And he
Yeah.
tells her that he like fell out of his treehouse or something like that. And then they even did a really good job, I think, because the parents, when he's talking to them, they kind of ignore him. And you're thinking
Yeah,
like, oh
like
well,
she
no
just speeds
wonder.
past them.
Right.
Yeah.
No wonder they don't see him because he's a ghost.
Yeah,
Little
that's
do you
what I
know that
thought.
they're ghosts as well because he fucking
Yeah.
murdered them. But anyway.
Girl, that was the
That
first
should
time in the movie that I was like
be.
shocked. I was like,
Yeah.
no. And then when I saw
Yeah.
whenever, well, I don't want to rush too far ahead of what you're talking about, but
Right. No,
whenever
it's cool.
so basically Lydia finds out because like when her realtor friend starts talking about the house that just so happens to be the house that Jeremy's in,
Yeah.
that's when she explains like, oh yeah, like the boy that lived there murdered his parents or whatever. And like, so anyway, Lydia runs into the house and then you finally see the parents like turn around and speak and like, girl, they got all kinds of utensils and shit in their heads. I'm like, oh my God, they were hacked up. Oh
Which,
my God.
yeah, I mean, just that was like such a shocker. I think they did a really good job on
Yes.
that.
Yes, absolutely.
The other thing that we're talking about, this kind of side plot, is that Beetlejuice has this
Yes.
ex-wife that apparently she was the one that like killed him, and that's why he's a ghost. Excuse me, in the first place. She
Yes.
was like this satanic, like soul sucking cult leader, which is kind of
Yes.
badass.
And
And
hot as
she was
hell.
right. I was
A
like,
baddie.
but she was basically trying to suck his soul out, which sounds crazy to say. Whenever he realized that she had, was it that she had like poisoned him, or I don't remember what it
Yes.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
and then he
poisoned
ended
him.
up axing her to death, basically. So
Yeah.
she comes back. Her little body parts like find each other, which is a really cool scene
Yes.
because she
Yeah,
kind
that
of
scene was
just staples
beautiful.
herself together, and
She
she
had a
looks
lot of good scenes.
amazing. Yeah, she's just really, really beautiful. And basically, she is seeking revenge on Beetlejuice.
Yes. I also love the scene that where Beetlejuice is like singing about their story and how they met. It's all like in Spanish and just so
Girl,
dramatic. I'm
yes.
like, this is so classic Tim Burton, but also I love it. I love it. Let's go for a ride
Yeah.
real quick, you know?
Yes, yes.
Black
I
flags and
loved how over the top it was. It was
yes,
completely,
yes.
oh my gosh. I wanted to mention this. I did not want to forget to say this. But the part where the priest is like talking to Delia about like, he's in a better place now and the pearly gates and blah, 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 all this shit. And then she
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
goes, what?
No, he's not. Fuck all that
Girl! That
bullshit.
shit literally had me sobbing because he was talking
Yes.
for like 5 minutes and she just goes, what? Oh my God. I was crying when
Girl,
that
that was so
happened, dude.
funny. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's literally what we're all thinking whenever somebody's like, yeah, it's a better, like, they're in a better place and all this shit. It's like, what the fuck are you
I'm
talking
like,
about?
no,
Like,
bro.
yeah,
You never been there? Shut up.
right.
Stop lying.
Right. But it's so funny. Well, anyway, so you
Yeah.
find out that the reason why Jeremy is, or sorry, the boy's name is Jeremy that Astrid ends up like falling for. You find out that the reason why he's like basically trying to flirt with her so hard and get her to fall in love with him is because he wants to switch lives with her. He wants to come back to the human world and basically send her to the or
Great
the afterlife
beyond.
forever, the great beyond forever,
Yes,
basically
on the Soul Train.
on the Soul Train, which was so
Girl, a little
cute.
dance number real quick.
Yeah, it was like all the
That's the
people just like discoing and like shit like
yes,
that. I loved it. I thought that was so cute.
absolutely. It's one of the only movies where I like approve of a little musical number. Like, all right, let's get into it. Let's
Yes.
have a moment. Let's vibe. You
Yes.
know, good
Yeah, I'm
times.
absolutely right there with you. Like anytime somebody starts breaking out in a song, I'm literally leaving. Like I'm not
I know. I
sitting
just
through
got
it.
going
Like
like,
I just feel
no.
so awkward, yeah, and like cringed or
Yes,
whatever. But
yes,
they like this was like genuinely funny. Like I really genuinely enjoyed every time they had like a little cute musical moment.
for sure, for sure.
Well, so basically, throughout the entire process of Jeremy trying to steal Astrid's life, basically, Astrid ends up seeing her father, who she really had been wanting to
Yes,
talk to basically all of her life. And he is like gorgeous, but he's like covered in fishes. You're like, I guess
yeah,
like he drowned or something in the Amazon or whatever they said, something in
yeah, something
Brazil.
like that. Yeah.
And he actually, together with Lydia and together with Beetlejuice and everything, they actually end up being able to save Astrid. But in order
Yes.
to do that, Lydia
Well,
has to promise to marry Beetlejuice again, which we already know how this is going to go. I was low key hoping they would just get married. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I was hoping it
I
would work
literally could
out.
see it. Like Rory's corny ass. Get that guy out of here. Like
Yeah.
I personally, I really don't dislike Beetlejuice. Like yeah,
I
he's
don't
kind of
either.
like
He's like
over the
gross.
top
But...
and gross, but you know, so are a lot of guys. Like
yeah.
whatever. At least you know he's really down. He's loyal as hell.
Yeah. Dude, I was laughing
Good.
so hard when you texted me. You said, Beetlejuice is kind of, you said something like, he's kind of gross, but he's not a bad guy for real. I was like,
He's
damn,
that's
that's
how
like
I feel.
literally the plot of the movie. Like, I love that so much. Like, if you had to
I
like think of
swear.
one sentence to like describe the entire movie, that's it. Beetlejuice
Yeah,
is kind of
yes.
gross, but he's not a bad guy. Yeah.
Really not.
Well, so long story short, Beetlejuice tries to marry Lydia again. Obviously it's unsuccessful, and then there's
Yeah.
just like this kind of crazy like just obviously singing montage as
Crazy
usual,
number.
just a
Yes.
bunch of random shit going on. Dolores comes back and
Yes.
you were
Girl,
saying
I actually like saved that little song. Like I
did
had
you
to save that song. I did. I was like,
which one was
this
it again?
kinda
What's the
goes.
name of it?
Oh my god! Wait, don't embarrass me. I don't know
No, you don't have
the
to
name
sing
for
it,
real,
but
but
oh, I
no, the
can't
name
think
of
of
it.
it.
It's like I don't know, the one about them being in the park and how the green icing is going down the cake or everything is from
Yeah, I
everything. That
know the
song
song. I just can't remember
hit.
what it was. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
I
look it up.
know. I know I looked it up that day and I was like, oh, this song kind of
I
goes, you
love it.
know? Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
too good.
Yeah, and they've got like the dead like band, like the undead band and everything. It's just too
Yes.
cute.
And everyone's like, for I loved the actors did such a good job of portraying people
Yes.
who are being forced to involuntarily sing. Because, like, they are doing
Yes.
it, but they all just physically looked
Yeah.
uncomfortable. So, very good
Oh
job.
my God. I was
Dupree's
thinking the
killed it.
same thing the whole time I was watching it. I was like, they're like acting right now. Like, that's insane. Like,
Yes.
they literally look
Girl.
like that's what's happening. Oh my gosh. I loved it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. That's basically the gist of the plot. Well,
That's
so
really the movie.
right, Dolores and Rory end up like Beetlejuice like ends up somehow like convincing Dolores to like go after Rory or some shit like that, and then
Yeah.
they just get eaten by a sandworm. We love it. We love
Yes.
when that happens.
I I don't know. I don't understand the sandworms. Like they mentioned them in the first movie too, but I'm
Yeah.
just like I mean like in a what's the word I'm looking for? In like a societal sense. Like I have never
Yeah.
heard anyone mention sandworms before. Like I thought when they went to the desert place it was like the sands of time or something, but I don't know where sandworms come from, like culture
Right.
wise.
I think that the concept is just supposed to be like, okay, look, like there's like the afterlife is not just like this one place, like there's like a million different like realms and shit like that.
Yeah.
I think that's just the entire point of it. Like I don't think that there's any like cultural significance or anything like that.
Okay, okay. They,
I
they,
mean,
they
I don't
talk about
know.
death in a bunch of different ways. So I'm like, oh, okay, there's all these rituals and stuff, but why
I
are these black and white
know.
worms just popping out of nowhere? Like,
Oh
oh,
my
okay.
gosh, we didn't mention how basically Delia is like doing all these rituals
Oh
like
my
after the death of
God.
her husband, and like she ends
Yes.
up buying these, what does she call them? Like what
They were
snakes are they?
supposed to be
Adders.
non-venomous snakes. Yeah, yeah,
Adders that
adders.
were missing their they were defanged adders. And she
Yes.
basically got scammed. They had fangs and they ended up
Girl.
biting her in the neck, and then she wakes up in the afterlife and she was just like, "Oh," like she knew immediately. She was
Yeah.
like, "Hell no." I just thought that
I
was
know. She
so
went full
funny.
Karen. She's like, I know people. I
Yes.
know people. Like,
Yes.
girl,
And everybody just started
man.
laughing. She was like, "I'm not supposed to be here." And everyone just
Literally.
started laughing. I was like, "Oh my
Man,
God."
that's the worst feeling in the world. I would have been swinging
Yeah.
at that point. What are y'all gonna do? Kill
Yeah.
me? Like,
And it was kind of like, I know, right? It was kind of sad because it was like, oh, you don't want this character to die. But like, then she ends
yeah.
up being reunited with Charles in the end. And it's so
Yes, yes.
sweet.
And she even mentioned, she's like, look, I'm never gonna be gone. I'll always be haunting the fuck out of you guys. So,
Yeah. I love
yeah.
that. I also want to mention the movie's called Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. So obviously, we're assuming there's going to be a third one, right?
I'm hoping so. I did read a quote from Tim Burton saying that, okay, y'all saw I was like 30 minutes, 30 years since the last one. So it's
Yeah.
probably going to be 100 till the next one, and I'll probably be old and
Right.
dead. So I'm like, bro, stop lying. Like, y'all better have this
Right.
shit in the works already. Like, just only
Well,
30 years, you know?
because you have to say Beetlejuice's name 3 times for him
Three
to
times.
appear. So why
Yes.
would they just have Beetlejuice Beetlejuice? Like, come on, girl, we know.
Come
Like, there's got to be
on. Come
something, right?
on. I hope
I don't know.
so.
I
I hope there's
kind
a
of do
third
too.
one.
I don't.
And
I
it's a trilogy.
genuinely have no idea where they would go with it. Like, no idea at all. But I
Well,
kind
they
of
kind
do
of
hope
hinted a little,
so.
not hinted, but that there's like I'm not, probably not going to say that because there are some things we haven't mentioned. Like it's not a complete run out of the movie. But in the end, when she's having that dream montage about Astrid like marrying some guy and then having
Yeah.
Beetlejuice's baby, like it could obviously kind of continue with Jenna Ortega since she is like the scream queen right now. They could
Yeah.
easily have Beetlejuice kind of like follow her around, or I don't know if Winona Ryder wants to come back and I don't know, be like an even older character, she could easily do that.
Right.
But there's a little bit of loose ends still they could kind of pull on if they wanted
Yeah,
to.
for sure, for sure. We just have to see. I do want to mention probably the best. I mean, the plot was amazing, characters are amazing, but probably the best part about the movie, and I would say probably about the original as well, has to be the cinematography and the set design. This movie was so
Yes.
visually stunning. Like this,
Yes.
it was just incredible. It was really gorgeous to behold.
It was
So
so enjoyable.
I mean, and even better than the last one as well. And I want to say
For
that
sure, for
you
sure.
could tell that it wasn't like, I mean, I'm sure that this probably relied
Sorry.
pretty heavily, excuse me, on like practical effects as well, just because
No,
you can
yeah, I had
usually tell when
to.
it's super like just digital overload. I want to
Yeah.
say like all the costuming to me was clearly practical. Like it wasn't just like
Yeah, yeah.
CGI
Yeah,
bullshit, which I hate. And I don't think that Tim Burton would ever be like super, super into that anyway for something like
for
this.
sure. Yeah, I think the
All the
Shrinkers' giant suits were
colors,
probably real.
the which ones?
The Shrinkers? Well, that's why the people with the little heads, they're like giant suits
Yeah.
were so funny.
Yeah, they were so so cute. Yeah, I love it. All the costuming just like amazing. I will say like just the fashion in general amazing as well. Like the underworld is a
Hmm.
party girl. Like they look so cute.
Yes, they
Everybody
were
looks amazing.
eating,
You know
chewed,
my mom
okay?
was on Google on her phone immediately after the movie trying to find the dress that Jenna Ortega was wearing on the
Yes,
bike. Yeah.
yes, I believe it. It was so
I love
cute.
it.
Oh
And
my god.
I'm strongly considering getting like a little fucked up like wispy bang. So we'll see. We might do
Okay.
it. I don't know.
One little fun fact is that there's like a Danny DeVito cameo in there.
Yeah,
Apparently,
I
not a
love
cameo, I
it.
guess, but he was a little character in the beginning, so that's kind of cute and
Yeah. And
fun.
he looks kind of
Um,
scary, low key.
yeah, no, he looked terrifying. I didn't
The
even know it was him.
eyes.
Yes, I
Yeah.
was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. I went back and watched the first one. And it's still good too. Obviously, it's like introducing Beetlejuice. I did not know that the original Beetlejuice, like before it actually got put into production, was supposed to be like actually disturbing. Like it was like
No
they show the car
shit.
crash screen. They show the car crash scene as like this really graphic, messed up scene, and like
What?
Beetlejuice was supposed to be like summoned, like exhumed from the ground, and like he was supposed to be like even more slimy and gross. But then I guess the
Ew.
person that pitched it, like the story writer, they were kind of like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? I'm like, no. And then Tim Burton was like, well, let's change a few things here and there. And then that's how we got the
Yeah.
Beetlejuice that we have today. So,
I love it. Oh, I have to mention this. I mean, this just cannot be ignored, but
mhm.
Monica Bellucci is married to Tim
God.
Burton, which is kind of amazing.
Yes.
How
Putting your
cute is
wife as a soul
that?
sucking baddie in a movie. Man, they just
I
don't make case
mean,
like that anymore.
that's what I said. I was talking to somebody
Girl.
like that or about that today, and they were like, yeah, that's like what I'm looking for in a man. Someone who
No,
lets me be in charge. I was
literally.
like, I mean, kind of amazing.
Yes.
She
I
looks
loved
amazing. I
her.
was thinking that might be potentially why she kind of was just like, maybe just like in there, like not
Yeah,
potentially
yeah,
like I
not,
think if you
yeah.
took her character out of the movie, like it would have still been a good movie, not to like hate on
That's
it or
fair.
whatever, but like
No,
she
no, there's a lot of
looked
scenes of her just walking around. So,
right. But she did look absolutely amazing. And I thought her
yeah.
character was really pretty and really interesting and really cool. So I think that it
Yeah.
was cool that she was in it. I'm not mad that she was. I loved it. And I love like knowing that little bit of like information about, you know, the backstory. So I think that's so cute.
Yes, absolutely. I enjoyed the movie. Thought it was a good job.
I
I
did
think
too.
most people that saw it did. I think it has really good reviews and like made a bunch of
Yeah.
money. So
Oh.
props to the team. And it was a long time coming. Like apparently they had been trying to make it happen basically since the first movie came out, and then there was just different
Really?
things that got in the way. Yeah, apparently like one guy who was supposed to be in it died, and then like there was obviously like the writer strike that was like 4 months
Well,
long,
and
and
the thing that
then
went down with Charles too, the actor who played the
right.
dad. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, like
Yeah.
it was dragging, but they got it done.
I thought it was so, so cute. Also, like in all their press releases, you can just see how much it meant to them to like be able to get back together and do all this.
Absolutely,
It was a lot
absolutely.
of just respect between the people who worked on the movie and just basically just honoring each other and just kind of dedicating like, hey, my a lot of my career. Well, just honestly, Winona Ryder and Tim Burton in general, like
No, yeah,
Edward
that's what I was thinking
Scissorhands
of.
as well, like
Yeah.
not just Beetle. What else? There's other things that she did that he put her in. But
Oh
like
god,
just, you know, Edward Scissorhands, for example,
there's
like
something
this
else I
was
can't
not like their
remember.
first time
No.
doing movies together. So they probably already got this like really strong bond. So I imagine that that was like a really like incredible experience for them to be able to work on something together again.
Yeah, I think that's a very beautiful thing when a director like has their muse actress, kind of like Yorgos and I can't remember her name now. All of a sudden, like the main girls on all her movies, essentially all of his movies lately, they're like really vibe well together. It's gonna come to you later. I'm so bad.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Emma Stone? Is that her name?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I think yeah. I was like, it's not Emma, is it? Yeah, no, Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos are doing a lot of work together. There's probably other examples as well, but when two people like really work together on a movie, it just comes out
Yeah,
perfectly.
they get each
I guess
other.
probably like James Carpenter as well, and the
John
guy.
Carpenter and Kurt Russell, yeah.
Yes, yes. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm so bad with my
absolutely.
names.
No,
I'm a
you're
title girly
good.
and not an actor and a
We know what you
girly.
mean. We know what you mean. Guys, let us know if you watch this movie. We absolutely loved it. Thank you so much again
Yes.
for tuning in. Thank you for continuing to support us. I'm trying to get better
Yes.
about like making content for like TikTok and Instagram and all that, but it's just so much work. I kind of like made a
I
little post
know.
today on TikTok that was like just horror trivia stuff. So
Yeah.
if you don't already follow us on TikTok, it's just Terror Takeover. Same thing for Instagram. And if you want to send us
Yes.
an email, it's terrortakeoverpod@gmail.com. Send us any suggestions or just comments that you have about the episode. And until
Yeah.
next time, we will see you later. Bye.
Yes. Bye.